Hey, what's going on, everyone? Vega here for SerpentX Tech, and in this video we'll be taking a look at USDT on the Tron network, or USDT TRC 20. Now, it's very hard in today's world to identify the correct token, so I always urge you to verify the contract address, because, for example, Grok might have like 10 different tokens on a number of different networks, and then you wind up buying or getting into the wrong contract, and then left holding the bag or get a rug pull or whatever. So we do have the correct USDT contract address on the Tron network, and the full audit is going to be on Yeti.uk, where you can see audits for software wallets and also smart contracts. So it's not published yet, but it will be published by the time this video is up. And if we go and pull up the tronscan.org website, where we can go and search by addresses or the contract address, we find USDT here. We can see its total supply, circulating supply, market cap, so on and so forth. It's obviously going to have different numbers than that of USDT, which is at 91 billion market cap, compared to what we see here on Tron and its circulating supply, so on and so forth. But looking at the contract, while it has an outdated Solidity version, and the reason why that's somewhat important is outdated Solidity versions are more susceptible to exploits or attack vectors, certain CVEs, so on and so forth. So usually when especially newer projects, when they come out, you want to see a more updated programmer version. But USDT has been around for a while now, and it only became available on TRC or Tron network around 2020, end of 2019, 2020, somewhere in there. So the outdated version here is not really that big of a deal to me. But what's important to me is the ownable aspect, or the ownership capabilities here on the TRC 20. And while talking to my colleagues and looking at USDT and a number of different networks, Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, we found that some of the same functions I want to urge caution about is also on there as well. So one is ownership. Usually when a project comes out, especially these meme tokens or whatever comes out, they want to show the community that it's decentralized, right? So the owner would deploy the contract and then renounce ownership, right? They might have some functions that they could call to as an owner to maybe adjust some things, but they ultimately just renounce ownership, and basically the community runs it, and so on and so forth. In this case, this stable coin, there is an owner, there's an owner address, and the owner has some pretty powerful capabilities. There is a multi-sig wallet aspect where 4, 5, 6 people can sign off on a transaction and let it go through. Like, you can't just, one person, like I can't just spend your $4 million if you and I and 3 other people are in this multi-sig wallet configuration. We all have to have a certain number, or all of us agree, for the transaction to go through. But the owner has the capability to blacklist. Now, that may not be a big deal, because we've seen in the past, especially if we know USDT's history, which again is on Yeti.uk. I provided a small brief history about it. It's kind of sus, because what this basically means is that the owner, if convinced, if requested by a higher authority, can blacklist not only your wallet address, but also your node. And they can also destroy or redeem the assets within your wallet. Now, that's a big deal when we're thinking about it as far as like other cryptocurrency products that are out there, right? It's not a big deal when you look at the history of Tether and see in the past, right, which we can link on through the tronscan.org. We can link to their official website, white paper, and Twitter, which would just take us, so the official website is just a page on Tron network, or tron.network, which just talks about it, but then it ultimately links to the official Tether website, which the key word here is transparency, because in the past, they were fined by regulators because they claimed from the jump, from the start, that their tokens were pegged 1-to-1 with whatever currency it was available on, whether it was USDT, the Euro, JPY, whatever it was. And that was found not true. And you see a lot of history from our colleagues in the crypto space that were calling that out and trying to get more transparency and tried to get verified information showing that Tether is really one-to-one. And then once the S hit the fan, they found out it wasn't, and they were fined heavily. You can see that again in the history. And of course, the page links to their Twitter page as well, but it's all tied to the main Tether website. But this same function is not exclusive to Tron network or the TRC20 USDT. The blacklist function and capability and the ownership powers are on all USDTs across Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Tron, so on and so forth. So if the owner is propositioned to, hey, this person's doing really bad things, which they have done in the past. A government agency reached out to them, and because these people were doing illicit activities, they were able to get Tether to not only blacklist them, but destroy their funds. Not that you, the user that's watching this, would be involved in such activities, so you shouldn't worry about it. The fact that that control is there is very concerning. It's very centralized because the owner has this power and capability, and it has some security risk, because if that owner or owners were compromised in whatever way, in whatever attack vector that the perpetrator uses, they could go around blacklisting multiple addresses, nodes, and then destroying or redeeming funds. And I think destroying and redeeming funds are kind of the same thing. I'm not sure, and maybe somebody that's watching can correct me. When we redeem, we're destroying the funds out of your wallet and then putting it in our wallet, or are we just destroying it so neither you and I have access to those funds? Either way, it's a very scary prospect. And you can see that on the TRC 20 side, they have the blacklist functionality. The contract is pausable, or I believe certain functions within the contract are pausable. And again, that same feature is throughout USDT on multiple networks. And it's not the only one. On the USDT on Ethereum, we could see through Etherscan, there's some items here that have low severity, very low severity, medium severity, so on and so forth. Not a big like deal breaker, but these bugs are still in here. And some of these bugs might actually go away if the Programma version or Solidity version was updated. They did some upgrades and updates to it over time, but it is an outdated Solidity version. And that would be the first thing, if they could do, that might help out. But the functions are still going to be here, right? They could still blacklist or add somebody, right? So function add blacklist, right? And look what they call it too here. Dirty funds, right? So function destroy black funds. So as in the past, when the government agency reached out to Tether, said these individuals were committing acts that was insufferable or inappropriate or unlawful, they were able to blacklist and destroy their funds. The reason this came about is because a colleague of ours had their funds destroyed on a USDT TRC 20 token, right? And for you and me, it would be a pretty penny. Let's just leave it at that. For somebody like a VC or a venture capitalist or a whale or a crypto investor overall that has, you know, a decent amount of pennies, it may not be a big deal. But for you and me, it was a pretty big deal. And how did this happen if the individual, through proxy of colleagues that I trust and respect, was not involved in nefarious activities, which I cannot prove or disprove? How would they get their funds destroyed and just taken away? So, not that this is something you might experience, but it is something I just wanted you to be aware of. I haven't checked out some of the other stable coins out there. Maybe this might be done as well on their networks or their various asset types across networks. But I just want to make sure that you are aware. USDT is very centralized and has some security concerns. But I can understand why they're very centralized and have these empowering ownership functions that they can call to. Because if I wanted to work with a government body, if I wanted to have banking institutions, regulators, countries, government agencies see my token as this is the digital dollar, I want to take it over, we want to make it work, then I would need to have this capability to stop, terrorist funding, to stop funding for illicit activities, to prevent funds from reaching various targets that are frowned upon. So I understand it, but I just wanted to make you aware. Again, not something for everybody to grab their pitchforks, stuff like that. But considering Tether's past and history, very sus. If the owner was compromised and all of a sudden there was a bunch of wallet addresses blacklisted and funds destroyed, that would be a very bad day for a lot of us. Not that I think that would ever happen, but it's just something to keep in the back of your mind. And then you're saying to yourself, well, Chris, if USDT is so bad and it's the number one stable coin, but number 3 overall asset, what other choice do I have? I haven't looked at some of the other stable coins. Maybe I will. Let me know down in the comments. But I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of this and you're educated about it. The second best stable coin out there is USDC, and I haven't even looked at their contract address and the various networks that they're available. But just wanted you to know that USDT, whether it's TRC20, BRC20, ERC20, has that capability. I can understand why the project has it. Just be aware, be cautious, and don't leave your funds on centralized exchanges, but at the same time, you might not want to leave a large cash position in USDT for a long period of time if you participate in certain activities that might be frowned upon. Okay? All right. That's going to do it for today's video. Please do me a favor on the way out. Hit the like button. Make sure to get subscribed. Hit the notification bell to stay up to date, as well as check out links in the description, like to the Yeti.uk audit. And let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Besides that, you just take care. I'll catch you next one.